Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Journey of Self Mastery. I'm your host, White Wolf, and today's episode Power Within. All right, thank you everybody for being here for another exciting episode. So, we'll go ahead and get started by first discussing freedom. What is freedom? We have many different perceptions around the word freedom, many different types of definitions we give it. But one aspect of freedom I think we really need to understand is that freedom does not come free. A lot of times we have the ideology that freedom is the capability to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. And there are some flaws with this type of thinking. Let's look and take, for example, the ability to drink alcohol. You can drink as much as you want. Once you, here in the United States, are at the age of 21, you get the freedom to drink as much as you want, however you want to do it. Now, what happens when you start to drink consistently over a period of time? You begin to rewire the neural pathways in your brain. And after a prolonged period, what used to be a fun little sip that you would take occasionally starts becoming something that you crave. And those cravings become stronger and they grow deeper. And then your willingness, the things you are willing to do in order to quench or satiate this craving becomes more and more extreme. So now we start falling into the categories of compulsions and addictions. So what was once a nice little fun sip you would take on the weekend starts to become a daily habit, maybe 1 beer, 2 beers after work, that begins to grow even more, maybe 5 or 6 beers after work, that begins to grow and grow until you as an individual decide to make the choice to stop drinking, to lessen your drinking, to replace that drinking habit with something beneficial for your body, and so on. The thing is, we have to really ask ourselves, what does it mean to be free? When we start falling into these compulsionary and addictive states of being, is that freedom? Or are we starting to become enslaved from within? A type of enslavement where we have programmed our minds, our bodies, our chemical structure to want to rely on substances that are outside of ourselves. I use alcohol as an example, but this falls under everything. Let's take food. The fast food, the greasy, delicious fast food that's, it's nice to be able to go to McDonald's that every so often get a double cheeseburger, maybe a quarter pounder, and just sit back and enjoy. But then what starts to become a one-time habit every so often, well, look, now I'm running out of time. So you know what? I might have to stop by McDonald's again and get me a double cheeseburger. And so this might start to become a habit 2 to 3 times a week. Oh, now I gotta treat myself. I had a hard day at work. Let's go out to eat. And so now we're starting to build up these habits. And so now what started out 1 time, 2 times a week grows 4 or 5 times. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fast food, restaurants, things, these types of foods that are clogging the internal framework of our bodies. These types of foods are heavily processed, greasy, cooked in so many different varieties of oil that it makes no sense. And what becomes of our body? It starts to become heavy, become slower. And though what we see happening to our body is also happening to our minds. Our mind now is starting to become slow and lethargic. It starts working less efficiently because now the nutrients that we need to start enabling our mental capacity to work more fluidly starts to slow down because we are clogged up with grease and stuff that is not good for us. And so, does this become freedom? We have the choice to eat out how many times we want, and everything in moderation. But when we start to step outside of those bounds, and we start to see the side effects happen to our bodies and happen to our minds, are we still free? Is that still freedom, or have we become enslaved to internal aspects of ourselves that we are going to have to learn how to fix? I bring this up because it's really important that we really start to understand what is freedom, what is the power that we hold. Because in all reality, in all truth, we are limitless. We have the capabilities to accomplish anything. And so we really have to start being more realistic about what does that mean. Let's use one more example. This time let's focus more on the emotional aspect. You go to work, and there you happen to see your best friend, your favorite coworker, and you know they got the tea. You know they got a saucy story that you just need to hear. And so then they start talking about Alex from Department C. And did you know that Alex is having an affair with his wife and blah, 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 blah? Or what about Jason? I heard Jason was sneaking around doing this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And you're just soaking it up, soaking up all the drama, hearing this, that, and the other. And when we start to do this, the type of emotions that we start to embody from these types of, from drama, just in this one case, drama, that type of, let me hear the dysfunctionality, because I need some type of dysfunction in my life. I need to hear something dysfunctional going on, because I have been programmed since early childhood to crave dysfunction. So either I'm going to see that dysfunction in the drama that my coworkers telling me, or I might have to create some dysfunction myself. If I'm not getting that nice, sweet, beautiful dysfunction, when I go home and I see my girlfriend, I'm going to start a random fight. Maybe she did cook dinner. Maybe she was busy all day, tired. But that's too bad, because I'm tired too. And I didn't get my fill of dysfunction. So I'm about to bring that dysfunction into the household. And so now I'm starting to create chaos. Now it's that the feeling of chaos, of insanity, that starts to become that addictive and compulsive type of drive. And, I used it as said drama. But what about when I'm on the road and I'm driving? Oh, let somebody cut me off. I've been looking for an excuse to blow off some steam. Let somebody do it. And so, all these different aspects, I use these as examples to try to help give a picture, because this happens every day, at any moment. It can happen on your way to school, on the school bus. It can happen when you're going for a walk through the store. Oh, did this person just cut in front of me with their cart? I know they did not just do that. And so we have to start to recognize once again, are these emotions that I'm embodying from the programs that I've put into myself, that I've consumed, that I've downloaded? Are these programs that are beneficial for me? Or are they creating emotions of envy, of jealousy, of anger, of rage, of hatred, of disgust, and so many others that we can get into? Is this freedom? Is it freedom to have the ability to talk bad about others behind their back? The ability to create chaos everywhere you go? Is that freedom? Is that really what freedom is? I bring up this question because first, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to start to talk about the word freedom. But what I think we need to start to do is look at it in a deeper way. We need to start going through the layers of not just the word freedom, but of many aspects of our lives. This just being an example. How do we really start to handle ourselves? How do we really start to react? Why do we start to react the way that we reacted? Introspection, looking at ourselves at a deeper level. Because what is going on around us? We have to start being really honest about what is happening within our societies, in our environments around us. Without going too much into the details of every structure and system that is governing us, we can clearly see that maybe things could be done a little bit better. I just mean, like, in our family court system, maybe the rules and policies are in place, can be set up so that it doesn't require the mother and father to have to fight each other in order to get custody of the child. It becomes a war zone instead of what is in the best interest of the child. Looking at our food system, maybe, oh maybe, we can make it so that we're not full of processed foods that have been sprayed with pesticides, that have been gone through so many different processes that is almost plastic. Looking at our school system, just because it was originally designed and made in a structure to create more factory workers and not enhance and help nourish the bloom of the human spirit, maybe we can make some adjustments there. On and on and on I could go on with every system in every different type of field. Because when we start to look closer and we take the time to look at the policies, the rules, the regulations, the standard operating procedures, a lot of times there will be so much different jargon, so many different knots, so many different illusions in place that it becomes quite difficult to understand what's really going on unless you are a subject matter expert in those fields. Or you just take the time to start looking at what's going on your own, doing some self-study. Because what we are finding, what starts to become more and more and more clear, in a structure and a system that prints money, that just prints money, that nothing is backing it. Every single organization, every single type of nonprofit that wants to try to help and be beneficial to solving problems such as homelessness, housing, food insecurity, elderly, young, school, etc., over any issue that we have. All of these structures, all of these nonprofits, all these entities are hurting on finances. There is not enough finances to be able to support these organizations. And we gotta ask ourselves, what is going on for real? That on a collective level, we are actually not trying to solve any of these main problems that we are facing. That we are not trying to improve the overall quality of life for everybody. It becomes so clear that because of the way that these policies and rules have been written, we are working against ourselves on so many different levels that it makes no sense. That in order for people to receive payment in money, finances, to receive the type of contribution that keeps us in line, we have to stay working within the box. That the ones with the money, that the ones who can print money without any backing whatsoever, if you do not listen to them, then you will not receive the funding in order to operate in that environment. And this is where freedom comes in, because we have to learn the power that we hold is so endless. Each one of us has an unlimited amount of power. We are creating our own reality because we are not alone. Because you're not here by accident. Because we have to learn that this is God's world. This is God's creation. And each and every single one of us is a piece of God. So when we're looking out into the world, what matters? When we're looking around in our societies and we're seeing these systems that are perpetuating suffering amongst ourselves, what matters? What is worth your time? Because I'm gonna let you know, there is no amount of money that is worth your time. $20 an hour, not worth your time. $100 an hour, not worth your time. $1 million an hour, not worth your time. Time is a precious gift that you will never get back in this reality. You always have the capability of making more money, but you cannot make more time. But it's funny, because if you work somewhere, let's just say you're working at McDonald's for $16 an hour, man, I suggest you just walk out that building, because it ain't worth your time, brother, sister. It ain't worth your time. But if you were to go to a soup kitchen and volunteer your time to work with other individuals who, out the kindness of their hearts, want to feed people who could use a meal, there is nothing more valuable than giving your time to help others in that type of way, or in other types of ways. This being one example. Money does not buy happiness, and money cannot buy the type of fulfillment that comes from learning to recognize energy. Because energy is more important than money. Energy, or say money, is a form of energy, because everything is energy, as we have discussed in many videos. Everything is energy. And so how do we start to fine-tune this? What type of energy are we trying to create in ourselves and in our environment? There's no amount of money that is worth your time. But yet, when you do something out of your heart space, there is no price tag that could compare to the value that you are putting into the world, just by being yourself and operating from your heart space. The power that we hold comes from our hearts. It comes from being able to express that beautiful, unconditional love, the strongest force in this universe. And we start to tap into it when we break free from these inner chains of fear, guilt, shame, a lack of self-worth, breaking free from compulsive and addictive behaviors, breaking free from competition-based ideologies or ignorance. I brought up the word freedom, and I stick to, I don't think there's any right or wrong way of understanding the word freedom, but to look deeper into what that means for you. Because to me, I'm not free if every few minutes I have to go get a cigarette. I'm not free if I am attached to the conceptualized that. I can't talk. If I'm attached to my own ideology of I have to have something outside of myself in order to bring me happiness. And that could be anything. Because when we start having these types of attachments, it can be used against us in so many ways. And so then, where does freedom go? Are you still free? To me, freedom is hand in hand with self-control, with the ability to tell yourself no when you need to say no, and the ability to push yourself forward and say yes, even if you're uncomfortable. The freedom to express yourself fully without the fear of judgment from others. Freedom to me is the ability to see that the world around us is changing and that we have to take actionable steps in order to help create the future we want to see. We cannot be bystanders. You can't just You can't just do the same thing you've always done and expect the same or a different outcome. If we want to see a world that is beautiful for the next 7+ generations, that improves the quality of life for everybody, that breaks down these barriers, that my brothers and sisters across the sea is any different than me. Lies and illusions. We are one human family. We are all connected. We are all one. We are all pieces of God. And I choose to use my freedom to help spread the message, to be an example, to be able to stand in my principles, in my values, and in my integrity. To show that the heart is where everything comes from. And so I'm going to end it there, family. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. What does freedom mean to you? Thank you, everybody, for sticking around to the end of this episode. This one was a little bit longer. We got a lot of exciting things coming up on the horizon. And we'll talk about that in the next couple episodes. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for listening to this message. Let's make this world beautiful for everybody, because we can do it. Let us unite. One love, one human family. Everybody have a good rest of your night, good rest of your day. Love and light leads the way. God bless and take care. Additionally, if you need some help, we have available for you a Level 1 Awakening course located at stan.store/whitewolf719. That will be in the description box below. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button so you can catch more amazing episodes and a lot more amazing videos are about to come out. On the horizon, well, I should say horizon, because your man White Wolf is entering into a new training arc phase, and it's going to be good. And we're about to put out a lot of new content. So make sure you stick around and take care.